Hey, what's up, my friends? John Hiley here with the Tactical Dent Tech YouTube channel, Tactical Dent Tech Facebook group, and the Tactical Dent Tech podcast. And this right here was repaired at my facility, Tactical Dent TX, and you can see we've got a large dent that rubbed all the way down into the quarter panel. So it's not just the dent up there, but the whole panel really took an entire, more of a rub dent all the way down, creating a high spot all the way through that double panel edge. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prep the panel because we're going to go in and do a little bit of cold glue pulling. And it's going to be with the original Sergio's black cold glue with that original Sergio's slide hammer. And this specific dent, the gentleman drove to a bunch of different places. Everybody said that it was not doable, that it needed body repair, but we're going to show you how it's done here. So right now, the torch, if any of you guys are wondering, this is not to heat the paint. This is to get the moisture out of the paint. And so paint is very porous, and when it's outside in weather conditions, it's being washed. Anytime water, rain, or any kind of liquid dwells on that panel for a particular amount of time, it's actually going to soak into the paint a little bit, and moisture. There's going to be moisture, and that's going to cause my cold glue here that I'm using not to stick as well. So I prep the panel for cold glue just like I would prep the panel for hot glue. Sometimes I'll go in and use a product called cactus juice. The alternative to that is maybe like some rubbing compound. But you can also prep the surface with that as well. So you can see there I took a pull all the way through the larger dent, the one that was like the size of the football, and then I went down and did a couple pulls because there was some low spots along the side as well, along that front edge. Now what I'm using here is some Rupes cleaner. This is actually a residue remover. Always get the blue one. The yellow one is not strong enough to, the yellow product is not strong enough to remove residue from cold glue. So this is my go-to. A lot of people have problems with the cold glue residue. All you've got to do is grab yourself some Rupes residue remover. And I find the best place to buy it is Anson PDR Tools. Fastest shipping, most reasonable price, and you can't find this stuff. I couldn't find it on Amazon. So now you can see how much of that dent swelled up, quite a bit of it, and it's really exposing how nasty that edge is right there. Really exposing that edge, how nasty that is. And you can see here, I've got a lot of work. This wound up being a lot more work than I thought it was going to be initially. And really, it's just BMW is such a strong, right there on them edges. You can see, before I put the glue tab on there, once I pull it, you'll be able to see it again. But you can see how bulged out the bottom edge of that is. And what that actually is, you're going to see here later in the tutorial, is that it's where the two panels seam together and meet together and begin to open up. So if you pull off the wheel, and you take off the interior liner, the wheel well liner, you'll see that it's all double metal inside of there. So what you get whenever you have a dent that is rubbed in like this one, and I always say rub because rub's different than a direct hit. And any dent technician knows this. Like a rub means that it started on one side, likely the front, and it just rubbed all the way down the side, right? So it came in very directional. It came in, not direct. It was not a direct impact. This thing came in directionally and rubbed, and that's why you see all of the metal bulging out of that double panel line all the way through the front side of this wheel well as well. All right, so right here I'm using, I believe, Anson's collision glue. And if you hadn't guessed already, this is the Atlas Titan oval tab, one of my favorite tabs. In my opinion, it's still, to this day, undisputed, pulls the hardest for its size. And you see, I started off with a crease tab. That was the very first pull that I took, and it just didn't do much. So once I kind of gauge what's actually going to move the metal, you'll see me begin to gravitate to just that, to the actual tabs that will move the metal. And see, this whole thing, the body line, complete body line collapse. The client who brought this vehicle into us, that's what he was mainly worried about. And I told him, I said, the body line's not the hard part here. It's, believe it or not, it's this edge, the edge of the panel. And that's where this tutorial is going to get really interesting. I encourage you, if you haven't worked on many double panel, rear quarter panel edges, the last part of this tutorial, I know this is a long one. I'm actually testing out some long form content here, but that back edge, or that edge of this panel, the end of this training, is going to be all about that. Probably 50% of this video is all going to be about that double paneled edge. And I think and I know that if you have not, let's just say, gotten amazing or decent at these double panels or these edges, I'm not even saying that I'm amazing at it. I'm saying I could definitely hold my own, which you'll see later. But this will definitely help you out. Nice glue pull there. And you see a lot of this, I'm trying to just give it to you in real time. I want to have some gaps in between the pulls, some natural time frame rather than speeding a lot of this up. Gives me a little bit more time to think and a little bit more time to kind of elaborate on what's going on here. And just a heads up there, the alcohol that I'm using to pull off that glue is 99%. I buy that on Amazon now. I buy it by the gallon. Just going right after that top of the line. Now, I'm not going to give you the whole if I was actually to try to give you every single aspect of this repair, the video would be like 8 hours long. Yeah, this one was quite the repair. It took quite a bit of time. And I expected this to be more along the lines of probably 4 to 5 hours. But it was just one of them things where this is a brand new M4 Competition BMW. Beautiful vehicle. And the client, he's got 800 horsepower to the wheels on this thing. And when you get inside, it's got looks like a Rolls Royce. It's got the stars in the headliner. So pretty cool what he did to this vehicle. I mean, and this thing roared. You should have heard it when he drove off. He was just jamming it. And thing sounds incredible. Fast car, beautiful car. Very high-end BMW, carbon fiber all over it. That thing had a carbon fiber roof. I believe it had a carbon fiber hood. Lots of carbon fiber. It's got a carbon fiber kit down there at the bottom. Nice carbon fiber body kit. And it was just a very, very cool car. Awesome to work on cars like this. And even better to take, what this gentleman was told, that it couldn't be done anywhere. Everywhere that he went. And I don't blame people for not wanting to really do these repairs. Even though I thought that I don't really talk a lot about price, I'll tell you why. Is because you might be a client watching this. Maybe you are a dent technician watching it. And, it wouldn't serve you that bad. But if you were a dent technician, it would actually really serve you if I told you the price and why I priced it that way. But my thing is, my friends, this is also a page for my clients. And I don't want a client to look at this dent and try to price out their dent in their mind, because many of you know that it is so situational and people do not understand that. And so this is why I avoid giving prices online. You can check out the Tactical Dent chart if you want to get your own price. And that is something that I developed about 10 years ago. And you can get it. It's actually published on Mobile Tech RX. And you can also go on to the Tactical Dent Tech group and you can download it. And there's so many variables to this. There's so many variables to the pricing that you really got to understand the make, the model, what type of metal is it? Is it aluminum? Is it double paneled? Is it a deep dent? Is it actually extra deep? So there's so many different variables to actually pricing these things out that you have to be a professional, and each job is very individually priced. So I don't want to tell people what I price this job out on here, simply because I don't want you to think, especially if you're a client, you're watching this, that this is going to be the cost for your repair. What I can tell you is, though, that this was $1,000 less expensive than taking it to the body shop. Body shops for quarter panels, they got to pull the glass. They got to do all kinds of intense R&I. You got to pull the interior plastic inside of the panels, so that way you can get in there and you can actually pull the glass out and take out the quarter glass and get rid of the moldings. And there's so many things that you've got to take apart to do an actual professional body repair to this. And then, of course, you have to fix it, right? And so, if this got fixed at a body shop, they would have to kind of stud weld it and pull it out with pins, and from there it'd be sanded and bondoed, which basically means plastic type fillers. Bondo is not plastic, but it's a filler, almost like, imagine when you're sculpting like a sculpture, what material that's made out of, right? That would be actually put in your vehicle and then kind of sand it out until all the curves and everything. And then there's a lot of opportunity for dust to get inside the vehicle. And, all of these things that happen, it takes much, much longer than paintless dent removal. So a lot of my clients, like this client, he wanted to avoid that altogether. Yeah, so this is why I always say that we are the first stop before the body shop, because if you are a wise consumer, you do not want to do body repair to your vehicle. Another thing, this was not an insurance claim. So this maintains the value of the vehicle. Paintless dent removal will stay off of your Carfax report. It's just all around, if it can be done, it's the method that should be done. So you can see here now I'm attacking that lower line again. My logic behind it, I was trying to lift that lower line to begin with, and it just wasn't coming up that well. So I took the pressure off the lows that were above the line, relieving that pressure so I can start glue pulling this lower line. And see, I wasn't really happy with that pull. No reason to pull the old glue off yet, since I'm getting ready to glue a tab right next to it. Interesting enough, sometimes you'll take a pull down here and it will not pull very well. You move over a quarter of an inch and it will pull the house off a foundation. Absolutely incredible. That's so interesting, because when I was talking to the client, he knew I was going to be doing a lot of glue pulling on this. We really talked about the method and how it was going to be done. And he asked me if there was a chance to pull the paint off. And I told him, I said, yes, there's always a chance. And I tell every client this, there's always a chance. But it would be very rare on a BMW. This year, make, model, brand new paint. Very hard to pull off the paint on these. And so, I told him there might be a less than a 1% chance that the paint could pull off during the glue pulling method. But again, what's our alternative? Our alternative is the body shop. And so I told him, I said, if it's got to go to the body shop because we pull the paint off it, you'd be going there anyway to avoid that risk. This one, to actually get behind it and push it out, would be incredibly hard. In fact, I opted to just do the entire dent with glue pulling. We also do some other methods when it comes to that double panel, the bottom, that line that we were talking about earlier. But the rest of this entire dent was completely glue pulled from start to finish. It's kind of my thing, though. And we didn't put any holes underneath the wheel well, anything like that. There was no holes drilled in this vehicle whatsoever. Now, the taillight would have given me, pulling the taillight would have given me a little bit of additional access. It would have put me so far away from it, though, that it just, at the end of the day, it wouldn't have helped me as much as it would have been to actually pull everything apart and take the taillight off. So I opted to glue pull the whole thing. Now you can see here as the line ends up coming up and the lows come up, it's going to start to expose some of the hidden crowns. So what you see right here is me working a hidden crown on the back side of that football-shaped dent. What is a crown? Well, crown is a little wave caught in time. Imagine a little wave coming in from the ocean and just being frozen as it's mid-wave, as it's beginning to roll, it becomes frozen. Well, metal is like that because metal is not water. It's a solid. And when something gets rubbed in like this, it's going to capture pockets of metal or waves that you need to tap out. You can kind of see my stance here, the way that I'm looking down it. Now, I end up working this dent from every single angle imaginable. Now, what you're seeing here is a combination of me working that crown, but I'm also kind of going back and forth and doing knockdown work on that really tight little line that's at the bottom of the wheel well. So lots of knockdown work on this one. And the interesting thing is doing this, y'all, is that you kind of gotta choose your poison, right? Because if I was to use a soft tip knockdown, something softer, something much more broad on this line, it would just put a giant low in it. So what I'm using is I'm using a peak plastic knockdown, pinpoint precision to actually get in there and start knocking that thing out. Now, the thing is that we spoke about is that when you have a hard hit edge like this, you almost always need to wet sand it. You almost always need to do a nice wet sand and polish on it. So this right here is called a cross check. And one of the things that I've seen with many technicians that make them less effective is that they don't cross-check enough, meaning that you get stuck in one angle and you think that you're going to be able to fix it from one angle. At the point when you got to know when you're working one angle, a particular angle, when you start having a hard time gaining any traction, right? And so when things just start to look good, but then you step back and you look at it and you go, well, that doesn't really look that good, and you go back in, that's when it's time to cross-check. And interesting enough, at the beginning of these repairs, you're cross-checking, you're going to be working each angle for a pretty lengthy amount of time, but as you get to the finishing side of things, which is quite a ways from now where we're at currently. When you get to the finishing side of things, you're going to be cross-checking much more rapidly. Sorry about that. Over there, walking in front of the camera. Try to keep away from doing any more crotch shots. All right. Knocking it down, knocking it down. One of the things that you can see here is that I'm wearing a watch, right? So I'm wearing a watch. This watch, I encourage any paintless dent removal technician that wears a watch. This has a magnetic wristband that has no buckles, nothing sharp on the edge. So you can actually wear this Apple Watch and have no worries at all with it scratching a vehicle. In fact, it's made out of like a protective rubber. Also, I want to make a note here as well. You know, when you work on these vehicles, you got to lean up against them, all these things. I actually use a particular belt that is all leather, no exposed metal on it. These are like the little things that you got to consider when you're working around people's cars each and every day. We actually had thankfully, we had to repaint the hood anyway. We had a Beetle in this year, and I had the windshield replaced in it. My windshield guy came in, and he went to replace the windshield, and he scratched the edge of the hood with his belt buckle. And I knew it was him, had it on camera, everything. And he showed me that he had a metal exposed belt buckle. And I told him, I said, man, look, I'll buy you one of these. The belt that I use is a Timberland belt. I used to have a Mac Tools belt for mechanics, but these are like the little things that you really got to consider, especially when you're working on high-end cars. Never put yourself in position to damage a client's car. And immediately now he actually changed. So this is the end of the day, by the way. I started working on this partially on one day, and then I came back the next day and started continuing it. In fact, that was the video that I sent the client at the end of the day. So now you can see where a ton of this line has been lifted up, and we've done some knockdown work, but you see how the knockdown work gets a little bit messy down there at the bottom. Well, you're going to see how we fix that. And that double panel line that was bulging out, there's double panels right there, was incredibly hard to knock down. I mean, just incredibly hard. But I'm going to go over that with you here a little bit later in the tutorial. So right now we're doing some glue pulling. That right there, that glue tab. This is, in fact, I'm using Galexo's red collision glue here. I'm finding that the collision glue is working better for me on this bigger damage. All right, you can see there, do a little bit of knockdown work on that. Nice little high spot. But what I'm finding is the collision glue is working out incredibly well. That tab is awesome. That is a Robo tab. Now here eventually we're going to get into the super straight tabs, and I'll kind of elaborate why I switched to them a little bit later in the tutorial. But here we go. Do some knockdown work. Now this is a peak knockdown. This is the firing pin. It is the mid-size peak knockdown. I am actually, the knockdown that I was using there was the Zero Gravity, which is from the Dent Vision Tools. That dude has got to be selling a ton of these. Nick was actually a member of my mastermind over the last year. We're so busy here at the shop, guys, I did not renew my mastermind. But we had an incredible group there, and they're still involved in all the group chats and all that kind of stuff. But I told them that this year I was going to have to check out because our shop is growing. We are growing down here in DFW. And many of you guys know I'm over 20 years in the business. I haven't always been in DFW. I've been living here for 5 years. And we just launched this location in 2024. The very end of 2024, and it's been awesome. So I'm sitting here right now. We're in I think we got about 6,000 square feet of space together, maybe 5,500 to 6,000. It really depends because for some reason they don't count the upper loft area that's almost the length of one of my entire shops. And that's actually where I'm sitting right now doing this tutorial because we got carpet up here. And if my audio sounds a little bit better on this particular video, it's because I'm in a room that has carpet. That absorbs the sound, y'all. Okay, there we go, doing some little bit of knockdown work. You can see, honestly, this little edge right here cutting into the rest of the body line, that one actually gave me a little bit, both edges, the front edge and the back edge, both gave me a little bit of a run for my money. Just working them up, trying to get them up. But you can see here, I'm getting down level with it. Now at this point, I'm actually sitting on a chair. So it's just, there's just so many things that you can do to change the visuals that you have on these dents, right? So occasionally I'm going to stand up and take that visual, and then I'm going to sit down on a chair, and then I'm going to sit down on the floor and take that visual. And so you got to try to move around these dents, especially this complex damage. You got to move around them like a clock, right? So the dent is in the middle, and you want to hit, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 12 o'clock, all the way around this dent. You want to visually be looking at it from every single angle possible, each and every way that you can. So you can see here, I'm just working my way through. And a lot of this could be knocking down high spots. Some of it is blending and just blending out the body line. And so this is also, not only is this the Dent Vision knockdown, this zero gravity knockdown, but that's the Dent Vision paddle that I love. Absolutely love it. Some of you guys seen some of my earlier videos. I always used to use this yellow hammer, which was like a late 90s Ding King hammer. And it was great. Somehow I lost it, but I don't think I would trade it back for the Dent Vision paddle that I use now. It just hits so nice. And there we go. Still using the Robo tabs. That Robo tab right there, the quarter size tab, I don't believe Anson used to sell them. I don't know why they don't sell them now, but well, it's probably because they just got tons of different tabs. But I just love that quarter size Robo tab, and you can get that at Drew's Tools. Now, if you're looking for the Dent Vision knockdown or the Dent Vision, slapper or whatever, hammer, I guess you want to call it a hammer, paddle, Dent Vision paddle. I don't really know what you would call this. It looks like a wooden paddle, but it's a mix between that and a hammer. I don't know. I really don't know how to describe it other than it's like some sort of hybrid hammer paddle that works incredibly well. And they do sell them at Anson PDR, but you can also get them at Dent Vision has their own website now. I can't remember if it's dentvision.com or if it's just dentvisiontools.com. I cannot remember, but I'm sure if you went out there and you Googled it, you'd find it. And if you can't find it, you can order it off Anson. Now again, using that Galexo collision glue. I've been going back and forth between a lot of glues lately. And, it's cooler this time of year. As soon as it starts getting warmer out, I'll probably be using the pink Snappy for almost everything hail-related. If you guys, that's another Anson product. It's called Pink Snappy glue. But that's what I used all year last year. Love it. Never fails me, except for when it gets cold out. So if you notice, I keep putting this tab right there around that backside of that body line because the rest of the body line came up. There's just a shallow spot right there up ahead of it. And right where that shallow spot is I just keep pulling it over and over again because eventually we'll get it to pull through. And if you notice, when you're using collision glue, one of the cool things about it is you can kind of let your tabs sit a lot longer. So collision glue is designed for a longer setup time. And what I mean by that is I had a bedside. In fact, it's still in here. I'm finishing it up. You guys will probably be getting that as next week's training. But I had a bedside in here that not only did I have to put lateral tension, I had to glue these big straps on there and do lateral tension, but I also had to do some glue pulling from the top with a giant bridge puller, a Cam Auto bridge puller. And so when you got multiple things going, that glue's got to have you got to be able to set it on there, and it's got to be effective, 15, 20 minutes later. And that's the advantage, because you're not going to be using Pink Snappy for collision glue. I've tried it. I know. I tried to get away with it. I said, I was trying to break the rules of matter. And, there's these unbreakable rules that you shouldn't try to break, but then there's something inside your head that thinks that you'll be able to break them because it's you. And then you find out that that's just not how it works. That's essentially what happened to me if you've seen some of my videos where I'm using the pink snappy for lateral tension, just about every time it either didn't work incredibly well or it fell off. It's just not made for that. So definitely invest in the collision glue if you're doing this type of work. And yes, this was a collision. So another guy, bumper or something like that, kind of like backed in at an angle and caused this rub dent. Okay, guys, so for whatever reason, I was going to have you guys watch me take the wheel off. I used a giant DeWalt impact gun, but for when I sat down and tried to do it, I recorded myself shooting the impact gun, and then I pressed the play button again, thinking it was going to press play, and it never caught any of it. So the wheel is off, though, as you can see. The wheel is off. And this is me taking out the liner. This is 10 millimeter. I love this DeWalt ratchet tool. Awesome. And so these are little plastic nuts that hold this liner on. Very easy to remove. And there was also some 8 millimeters down at the bottom. But I'm going to save you a lot of time here, and we're just going to pull it out. So everything is unbolted. You see me kind of working it from the back to begin with, getting it loosened up. That must have been my beard coming over top of it because I don't have that much hair on my head. All right, there we go. Let's get it out. I'm going to show you guys. There is actually some factory access under here, but I don't use it. It's too far back, and I'll show you guys the inside of this wheel well here in just a moment. See, there you go. That's our double panel right there. There's a factory plug right there, but everything else, it's just completely double paneled up. So there is one factory plug there. Now here's where it gets interesting, because I am going to break out these plier tools right here. And see, this is exactly what that's going to do. It is going to push through two metal panels. And I'm using an Edgy Tools tip, and it's not a super sharp tip, but it's sharp enough to get through these double panels. All right, so now you can see this is my view here, guys. And, you seen earlier that edge needed some work. And so that is where this bad boy comes in. Now, you got to adjust it a little bit, play with it, because you can adjust this thing where it has such a strong push through that panel. Now, you can see the two rubber tips on the top are pinning the metal down, while the other tip is driving through the double panels. These are called the edge pliers. These are made by Anson PDR tools. That's what I love about Anson. They got so many innovative tools, and this is one of them. And so what this is doing is this is taking where I did all of that knockdown work, and if there's like any holes, any little lows, it is crimping that together, smashing that together, giving me a much more even and a much more symmetrical line here to work with. Because, guys, this is the hardest part, I'm telling you. These double panels, to get them looking decent, I'm not going to say, in fact, I told the client, I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to get it perfect, but when you come here, you're going to see that it's going to look really good. And he was quite astonished at how well it looked whenever I was finished with it. But this one, very difficult, y'all. I see why shops passed on this. Like, I'm not here going to be riding some horse as a white knight or something like that, because I'm just crazy enough to take it on. And so I see why people say no, I don't want to, no. But then again, I've got a client for life here. I mean, this guy is already bringing other cars to me, and it's not like I didn't get paid for my work. I got paid for my work. It's just this is the type of work that will send you to the chiropractor. You got to put a little health and wellness fee in on these ones, right? Because, it's everything that it takes. But again, he was able to save more money than going to the body shop, much more time. And what's even cooler about this, he ended up wrapping it. I don't have any photos yet of him wrapping it. I believe he's taking it in this coming week. But they're going to put a matte red wrap on this BMW. So you see there, I'm just working that line. Now, this isn't the only method that I'm going to use here, guys. And so don't think that this is all the icing that's on the cake, because I got some other methods I want to show you that, in my opinion, worked just as well. Probably if you're a dent technician, you might have everything that you need in your toolbox without having the edge pliers to do the next method that I'm going to be showing you. So keep on watching. The thing about these videos, even if you have the things that I have and some of the things that I know, all it takes is that one nugget, that one golden tip that can save you a lot of time. Now, that's what I look for. I was watching some videos, a dent technician on there. What was his name? They call him the Man of Steel. I don't know. Maybe somebody in the comments can tell me his name on here. But they call him the Man of Steel. And what I liked about his content is that he was using a ton of air-powered pulling devices. And now all I can think about is that I need some air-powered pulling devices. Now, he was actually making his own glue tabs and cutting them out of wood. I love that idea too. I mean, who wouldn't want to cut a custom-shaped glue tab? And it pulls he was doing some pulls with some of these like body shop devices, and they were almost like, if you ever seen like Cam Auto, the pull tower. Imagine a pull tower that you got to anchor and connect into the ground, and it had a foot pedal. The foot pedal's perfect because you can stand back and watch what's going on while you're unlocking the dent. And so he's over there foot pedaling this thing, and I'm just sitting there watching it, and I'm going, oh my God, now I know what I need. I need this setup. I didn't buy it, but I almost this week, bought there you go. See that, guys? Look at the difference of that line. Now, is it perfect? Heck no. But look at the difference. Now here we go. This, I'm using a knockdown. Now, this is what I was telling you about. Look, I'm using a knockdown, and currently I'm using a plastic tip. But what you don't see back there, that's a 3-pound hammer. And so what I like about the 3-pound hammer is you're up underneath a wheel well. You can't really swing it that far. So you use the weight of the hammer, the sledgehammer. Now, this is an all-rubber one. Many of you guys know I still do have some nice metal sledgehammers. But this rubber one just worked perfect for this job. And so this is me working a little further down on the line, y'all. And what you're seeing here, this is such a delicate thing, because I'm literally taking these little lows, hitting through the two panels, turning them into a high spot, and then tapping them down, hoping that I don't accidentally, and we all accidentally put in a little dot that I've got to go back and do it again. Now, I'm just giving you right now a visual of what it looks like while I'm in here. I know this isn't the greatest action shot in the world, but this is what it looks like when I'm under there. And I'm getting aligned. I'm sitting on the my Viper chair. Oh yeah, man! I had to name drop there. I do got a Viper, and so I'm sitting there on my Viper chair, and I've got this is the lowest the lowest one that sits closest to the ground. Well, no, I take that back. I got a creeper as well that sits very low to the ground. But my son bought that for me for Christmas this last year. But I'm sitting there, eyeballing, eye to eye. Now I'm going to be on the floor. I'm going to be standing up. I'm going to be every angle imaginable to get this dent straightened out. Now this took the bulk of my time that I spent on this dent. Like, again, we probably had a solid 8 hours on it. But this took the bulk of my time doing this edge. So here you go. And you got to be very delicate, very careful here when you're trying to finish this thing out. The interesting thing about these lines, and here's what you're going to find, when you're on top of the double metal, you can hit it reasonably hard. As soon as you go up 1/8 of an inch above that line, it'll put a dent or a divot in it, and you're going to have to glue pull that out. So this is one of them things where the old, the old thing Confucius said, right? Slower is faster. That wasn't Confucius, by the way. I believe that was Terry Siegel who said that. Slower is faster. Boy, Terry Siegel is one of the great ones. So this is me checking, working the edge. I knew that this whole repair, the quality of this whole repair, was contingent on making this edge look good. And so now you see, as I'm working that edge, you're going to find little lows. I mean, there was little lows throughout this whole line, but there's also little lows that I accidentally put in there, moving my tool slightly up, just slightly up away from that edge. And then all of a sudden here, you gotta do a glue pull. Now I'm switching out now to the super straight tabs. And really, for me, this first pull with the super straight tab was like, okay, well, how hard will this thing really pull? And y'all are about to see. Because this is actually the very first, I believe, I believe this is the very first one that I've ever stretched the neck on it. But I mean, to stretch the neck, it pulled hard. Now with these super straight tabs, I use the Keko mini lifter. Oh yeah, that thing pulled hard. And you actually see me go ahead and get that off, but I think you can probably just about see the high from here. I'm actually inspecting that tab right now. Going, oh, okay. We pulled the neck out on that one, but it did what it needed to do. That was a tight little low that I had right there that I had to pull out. And so I've been using these super straight tabs, and if you guys don't know what they are a tab that has a different, like a V-cut receiver. So they go up, imagine like an upside down pyramid on top of the tab that wedges that tab in when you take the pull, causing the tabs to pull super straight. And really, here we go again, super straight tab. The light bulb went off for me. One day I'm just sitting here thinking about it. There we go. Now you can see what I'm doing. And so the light bulb actually went off for me as I'm sitting here thinking about it. And here we go. I'm going after that little one right there. The one below it is actually going to be tapped through the double panel. But as I started thinking about why do they pull super straight, well, put a regular tab in a mini lifter. It has a lot of play. It can go left. It can go right. It can tilt inside of there. These things are going to be perfectly dead. The pull is going to be perfectly dead centered. Now, if you misplace it and you don't put it in the right spot, of course, it's going to not pull the center. But if you've been doing this for a little while, you know how to do it. You can put it in the right spot. There we go. That's not bad. Not bad. Still got a little low there, but it is not too bad. As long as we're moving forward. Now, occasionally you're going to put a tab on there, and I don't care what kind of tab it is, but occasionally it's going to just fall off or it's not going to adhere properly. Look, that happens. But these have been super consistent for me. Now you can kind of see the pyramid look here. And if you are the pyramid view of the way that stem looks to take that pull, but you can also see when I connect the mini lifter to it, two things that I have in this mini lifter. You see them feet that are threaded up? So that's one set of feet that I bought on it from Black Plague. But also in that mini lifter, the receiver was, it came with the kit. So when you buy these super straight tabs, there we go. Look at that. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful. Put a nice little high spot right there. And so we'll see if I can tap it down without, well, like I said, this is a delicate area right here. Delicate area. I mean, don't be surprised if you go and you pull a high spot right here and you get what you want, and then you go to knock it down and bam, you put another little dot in there and you've got to go pull it again. I mean, because that's what you struggle with on these edges. So now I see a nice one up there. I'm like, hey, what the hey? I'm working the edge right now, but let's just go in there and put one of these tabs right up there. There you go. This is a nice view. Again, that's the Glexo collision glue, that red glue. I have had a lot of luck with that. I like it a lot. So here we go. So delicate right here, guys. So what you're seeing right there, I'm on a double paneled edge right there where you can hit it nice and tight. And that is the sharpest, that right there is the sharpest peak tip that they have. And so I don't even know what they call that. There's the Pee-wee, which is, there we go. Look at that. You see that pool? You seen the receiver hook up as well. So it's got that V shape, that pyramid shape receiver. All good. So if you'd imagine, this is what I had to do through the entire repair. I mean, I'm glue pulling above the line. I'm tapping, below the line. I'm working through the double panels by not only using the edge pliers, but I'm also working through the double panel with the knockdown from the back side of the panel. And see, this is when you start to get into the nitty-gritty. You want to start using these sharper tips. Now look at the zero gravity knockdown here, guys. Do you see how it's kind of floating on the backside? How it just floats in the middle there? So, okay, so now here we go again. This is me knocking through the double panel. Now, what I'm using here, you don't see it. I wish I would have showed it to you, but it is a very sharp tip. So it got to the point where I needed a very sharp tip. I'm not using the plastic tip anymore. I'm using an incredibly sharp tip through that double panel. And I went through the entire thing, tightening up all the little loads. And now I am getting into the wet sand work. One of the great things about BMWs as well is that, man, they put a lot of clear on these cars. Great paint. And so I knew that I had a lot of clear to work with here. And I knew that with the right amount of sanding and polishing, I could level this thing out, shine it up, and it would be good to go. Now that's 2000 grit that I'm using there. Okay, now I'm going to show you this upper part of the line. You can see how much cleaner that's already looking, guys. You see all them lights reflecting through it, looking much, much cleaner. I really enjoyed this job. It took a little bit longer than I thought, but there's nothing better than getting these things dialed into the finished product and just getting them dialed. Now, even after I wet sand and polish on this, I'm not completely finished with it. I mean, there's still some work that I got to do on the other side of the panel. I've got to do a little bit of the edge pliers here and there, a little bit of tapping through the double panel lines, a little bit of blending. Definitely got to go up above the line and do some pinpoint precision work, which you guys will see me do some of that. But this is just one of the things that once you do the wet sand and polish on this, it's going to kind of clear the canvas, meaning that you're going to be able to see it much more clear when you level out the paint. Okay. Now this right here, I'm actually testing a new polisher here, which is the Flex. This is the first time that I used the Flex. Now that is a Rupes pad. I do find, guys, like one of the biggest things is making sure if you're going to be doing some compound work, I'm using the Koschemi cutting compound, that a pad makes all the difference in the world. So this Rupes pad will make quick work out of the polishing that I'm doing here. Now, what I found is I really like this flex. I feel like I needed it. Don't really know why. I've got all kinds of different tools to buff and polish. But one of the things, it does have a 1-inch receiver, so I can do little spot polishing with a 1.5-inch pad. So it's got a 1-inch backing plate that goes on there, and you can disconnect it and connect it very easily. It is a nice tool, but I would say at this stage, the Rupes polisher is better. So at this stage, the Rupes polisher is better, but this will definitely get the job done. It's very nice. It also has the ability to not just be a dual orbital, but it also has the ability to be a rotary buffer. So you can do high-speed polishing. Just kind of wish I would have done that on this first. But this is my first opportunity to use the thing. And the Rupes just does a really good job. I actually used that later. I don't know if I recorded multiple steps, but this is the rubbing compound step. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll do the rubbing compound work, and then I won't do the 2 other steps until I'm finished with it, because the 2 other steps will just polish it up so nicely that I don't want that, because look at me, I'm glue pulling right now. I'm still glue pulling. So I don't want the finish to be polished all the way to the point yet to where the glue won't stick. Oh, and not to mention, I'm going to be touching, I'm going to be doing knockdown work on it, and I'm going to be doing all kinds of things that I like to save them last 2 steps for the very end. And you can see here now I'm working above the line. And these tabs are just working incredibly well, y'all. I mean, they are pulling nicely, working very nicely. So it's like I'm just going to keep going with them. And I'm just trying to find little lows anywhere. I don't care if it's above the line, below the line. Trying to find any little low imaginable on this panel. And you guys will see here once I'll bring you in to look at a couple glue pulls, and you guys will see how clean the bottom part of the line came out on this repair. We'll show you the finish work as well, but and I'll tell you, that edge was a bear to fix and to finish. Right there you go. You guys remember the first 10 minutes, or maybe first 20 minutes into this, you remember how the edge looked? Well, look at it now. Little by little. Now, what I also like about these videos is some of y'all, maybe you haven't been doing paintless dent removal for very long, and you're watching it. Or, and this can give you some sort of confidence, because you can see that, it is really breaks your confidence when you're halfway through a repair and everything looks like, for better words, ripple shit. And knowing that it's supposed to look like ripple shit and eventually look better and better and better and better and better is a little bit of a confidence booster. So, that's what we're doing here. Not only that, you can learn some tricks, some tips. And who knows? Maybe I'm training right now. I'm not training right now, but maybe by the time you're watching this video, I'm doing some sort of advanced training, because this is the type of stuff that I actually will sit behind my students and look over their shoulders and guide them through every part of the repair. Now, one of the crazy things about that, or one of the great things about that, is that that's worth its weight in gold. To have somebody tell you that, no, you're not screwing up. No, you need to keep going, or here's what you got to do next. So these are the type of things that not only can you learn on this video, because this is free. I'm putting this up on YouTube. And also the Tactical Dent Tech Facebook group. But it's even better if you're physically doing the work and you got somebody who's experienced over your shoulders guiding you through that process. It can save you a lot of time on that learning curve. I would say advanced training probably saved a lot of my students anywhere from 1 to 2 years of, let's just face it, pain, the pain of figuring it out on your own. Paintless dent removal can be painful. If you're new at it, you probably feel the words that I'm speaking right now. But it's okay. We all go through it. Got to have that baptism by fire, you know? And that fire forges you, turns you into the technician that you're going to be. And all of you who have made it through the fire, well, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That's what I love about this trade. So really what I love about it is that it ain't easy. Now, I didn't love that when it wasn't as easy for me. But I love it now that I've went through the fire, been forged, and you got to have a little bit of respect for somebody who can do it well. Because you know what they went through. You went through what they went through. And this is me just picking up any little low that I can potentially see. Got that bottom line pretty darn good. And now I'm just trying to get any little low out of this up here above the line. You know, the truth be told, a lot of that stuff glue pulled really well in the beginning. So I wasn't too worried about it. And I decided to leave it as the finishing work. What I was more worried about was that bottom edge. Here we go. See me kind of pointing out a little low there. A little bit of knockdown work. You know, but really for glue pull only, I was happy with this one. Very happy with this one. Okay, so right here is under the wheel well. You can kind of see it doesn't look bad. Doesn't look bad. No holes were drilled at all. And then right now I'm going to go ahead and go in with the Rupes. I'm going to give it a little love. Now this polisher, man, it's hard to beat this polisher. I mean, that flex is good, but this is great, this polisher. I mean, both of them are about $500. I would say, though, the one thing with the flex, though, is very versatile. Just being able to switch up the size of the pads. Oh, and with the flex, you can actually put sanding discs on it, and you can sand with the thing. So I ain't hating on the flex. I'm just saying a Rupes polisher, I don't know. You know, my hand tends to gravitate to this. Very, very good. Very good. We're going to be finishing up here real soon, y'all. And again, I actually go through it. This right here is the rubbing compound aspect. And when you use Kosh-Chemie compound, stuff's incredible. I do go back through it with the multiple step. So I go through it with they've got a yellow product, Kosh-Chemie, and then they've also got a purple one. So I go through with the 3 steps. Oh, and I found a little low back here. It's interesting when you start finding little dents that you didn't see when the thing was terrible, you know, when it was bad. And your eyes will gravitate. That's the thing. A lot of customers, if they got a large dent, they don't see the little dents on the panel because your eyes gravitate to the large dent. But I know how important it was for this client, so he's getting it wrapped. I actually went around the whole vehicle and found any little waves and things like that and just went around the whole vehicle and pulled it up. But this is just little finishing touches. Man, y'all, I got to tell you, it's hard to get a double panel to look like this. You know, in my opinion, there's very few guys out there that like to work on double panels, and even fewer that can get them really clean. If you're one of the few, congrats to you. You know the pain. You know what you went through to get there. And I'm just one of them crazy, obsessive people that won't give up. And you probably are too. And if you're listening to this and you're watching this and you're new, if you took the time to watch this whole training, that tells me right off the bat that you have the drive to do it. So you have the drive and you have the want, and you have the desire. If you're a client watching this, well, you're seeing the back end of what really goes down inside of a dent removal shop when it's done right. Now, hey, I could have drilled holes up underneath the wheel well, done all kinds of different things like that. Didn't do any of that. Why? Because that is not good for the vehicle. And so doing this the right way was the only way and is the only way. All right, a little bit of knockdown work here at the end, and we are going to wrap this training up, my friends. I appreciate you for coming along and watching this training today. You can kind of see from this direction. Like I said, not absolutely flawless, but I could tell you when the client got here, if it looks really good in that light, it's going to look incredible out in the nature, in the natural. Well, I guess since I didn't get any video of me taking off the tire, I gave you a little bit of me putting the tire back on. Now I got the, also as you can see there, I put the liner back in there. And here we go. That impact gun, that big boy right there, that's the way to do it. Now you still got to torque them, so afterwards I did go through and torque all the bolts. Always got to do that. And then there you go, guys. Right there she is. That is the finished result on this repair. I'm going to show you a little bit in the natural as well. Nice little natural shot. Kind of the way the reflections flow through it. And then we'll take a look at from the other angle. And there it is, y'all. Appreciate you guys for coming along on this training today. You can kind of see down there, not absolutely flawless, but pretty damn good. All right, everyone, I appreciate you. And as usual, I'm going to see you on that next one.